Hey, what's going on, fella? What's going on, fella? Doing the Iron Man build here. Well, we thought, me and my boys, buddies, good long friends, we thought, man, we've been at this for ages trying to figure out how to, kick it up a notch with the superhero thing. So, here we are going to do the Iron Man suit build. We was able to score some very cool graphics programs to print out the Iron Man suit diagram. You're all probably familiar with the Pepper and and the file, that opens up the Iron Man suit with all the cutout pieces and stuff, and we've been working on it. So this is the first one here showing you, the beginning of the build. My other good buddy, he's doing the same thing, so we're hopefully going to see, two sets of styles and see how they all come together, for an eventual product. So some good old fashioned okay, so here anyways, here's some of the cutouts already. Big pile of paper right now. Just a big pile of paper. Show you up close. They're all different pieces, different shapes. Got to cut them out, follow the diagrams just like that. Very detailed work. Trusty scissors. That's what you'll need. And a little bit of good old fashioned glue. I'm telling you. Also saw toothpicks and whatnot. Things like this could help back the back sides of some of your work to help keep it rigid when you first get started doing the actual putting it together. Okay. Down here are some of the halfway assembled products. Just got done getting it going. Oh, camera's all over the place. That's them right there. And I've already built my arc reactor. Made that one from scratch. Putting off some good juice. It's all charged up. That'll be in the center of the suit when I get it. Okay, over there, there's I think the arc reactor's messing up. I'm gonna have to move it, fellas. It's just too strong. There you go, it's messing up the light. Okay, those are some more of the parts already pretty well cut out. Over there is the mask. That's pretty much the facial, some of the ear pieces, the jaw lines. Okay, well, when you see the next update, you'll see that I'll either take it up when I have it either fully assembled, and then just take it from there and maybe explore and see what we've done with the interior and stuff like that to try to make it rigid. Just as an example, I'll throw out real quick. This particular one is of course, will be this right here. So there you go, like that. Okay. Well, I put toothpicks right behind here, or shish kebab sticks, and I just cut them down to size to fit inside of these corners and turns up here on the ridge of the nose. I went across there. Then just scrap paper I layered on the inside, you know, just to make it a little thicker. So as it is, I'll tap on it like, it's pretty solid. It's pretty wild. All the detailed stuff like here where you have to cut little thin strips and be able to bend them. Either using like a toothpick or something like that, or a match. It's got a square match since they're real thin. Some of these pieces are so thin that I found that those are the easiest ways to bend the paper to get a nice crease. And you can like move toothpicks and stuff like that around, or popsicle sticks or whatever, something like that. It seems to be working pretty good. All right then. Well, fellas, we'll see you on the next build update coming soon. Doing the Iron Man build. This is the second update, letting you know how things are going. I think it's pretty cool, man, how this Pepper Cure program is turning out the stuff, and from there on, well, you remember what it seemed before? It was all in pieces, little pieces of paper and all that good stuff. Well, bring this up to date. Here's the mask. Well, I got the chin already attached. I went ahead and did some extra things. I got into remodifying a little bit so that faceplate is a little bit bigger. We was having trouble resizing the program to be able to print out correct size for the proportion of the individual that's trying to wear it. My son pretty much fits this, but even then I have to do a little modification. But as you can see, I'll turn it from the inside. I used shish kebab sticks and then took my little knife and I split it so that I could get little thin strips like so. And I'll have to bring it a little closer to you. You'll see that got a bit of a grid pattern. Tries all the way around and everything, keeping it stiff. I even curled it, so took pieces of wood. Essentially, these, like I said, these shish kebab sticks like this. Real easy, real flexible. You know, once you strip it in half, they're even more flexible and you can make turns and such. And I thought that would be great to, you know, stiffen up the whole apparatus. Looks pretty good. You know, not bad, not bad. I even modified it a little bit, made the cheeks a little bit larger. So, trying to increase some of the size proportion. Here's the helmet. Well, here's the back. You can see where I'm beefing up some of the, I added extra cardboard that's on the inside, glued, some of the caps in the back. I'm also on the top lid portion here, put strips of wood all the way around, and basically to make this pretty rigid. I want it to be able to withstand, once start to coat it, maybe move to fiberglassing, I'm not sure yet. Maybe some spray on, maybe rubberize it or something, I don't know. But here it is together. Very cool. Do a little Shakespeare thing of like holding his skull in his hand. It's not bad looking. Proportion wise, not too bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. The second one, I'm going to be working on these, part of the art reactor setup, because I'm going to did one from scratch. I got some of the pieces laying here that I started to do. I found this bottom of a coffee jar. It was a plastic, and I took some copper wire and of course spooled it around to try to make it look authentic. I'm still got to cut this center out. That didn't work out very well, but you can see how I wired it. Very intricate. I did several loops through a series of holes, and then when I came down, I went down at an angle and looped around the base. So, for all intents and purposes, as a mock-up, you know, boom. It's not bad looking. It's kind of cool. It'll look good for the overall effect of the suit and design. I got these other items here. The wife helped me out with this, and it's white hard plastic, but it has the raised ridge for the classic arc reactor look. So I'm going to be taking and cutting this off, taking the top ring, cut the center out of that, probably set it down inside of there so it has that milky white look for the proper glow for the arc reactor. And not bad with everything that's been going on. So I'll do the next update. It'll be number 3. We've been kind of nicknamed it instead of being the Mark 1, Mark 2, because they're going to be they're all going to be a little bit different. Mark 1A. That's pretty cool. All right. So we'll see you on the next update when I should have it completed as far as the actual put together, and then I'll start thinking about what kind of materials to go over top of it to make it better. It's got some LEDs and such that I'm going to use to put into it, which is going to be kind of cool. All right. Till next time. All right. We're going to try out the camera here and see if we can check in what our progress is. I added some LED lights to it and stuff like that, and the arc reactor is looking pretty healthy. Um, I'll turn the light out, and it's going to go black, and voila, we have one awesome looking arc reactor. It's got a pretty good power set pack on it. Alright, then we have the secondary light function where we turn the arc reactor off, and then that's the headlight, or yeah, the headlight. Turn the light back on. Put some light back on it. Yep, right over there on top, he's got the LEDs. Turn your head to me. Right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Hold that for me, Alex. Alright. Also worked on some of the paint work on the faceplate itself, and I ended up doing the whole thing. Thought this might be kind of cool. We'll show this off first off for everybody to see. Iron Man. The red enamel, the fire engine red, is going to look good on it. Still got to get the gold paint on there. But I've been stiffening up the boards, as you can see. Now I got a little cardboard up here. That's going to help out the overall effect. Alright, slide this up here like so. Let's look down. I did a little strengthening up there so that the piece itself looks kind of good. Let's see, put that under your chin. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna end up having to reshape the whole thing. Technically, give me the light. See, arc reactor on. Oh, no, not that one. Oh, voice activated. I forgot about that. Now, the LEDs look pretty good. Look towards me. Look back up. Up. Alright, look towards the camera. Yeah, alright. Not bad, not bad. Figured I'd have the boy demonstrate it. And this is update number 3 on the Iron Man build. The Iron Man 1A suit. Not too bad. Okay, take that off. Alright, boys. The little guys helped out here. We have to give them a hand for that. Alright, we'll have the next one here soon. We're talking about a few other things in the build. Okay, wave goodbye, fellas. The Iron Man crew right there. Yeah.
Iron Man crew, destroy all bad guys. Oh my god,
right
my
on.
hand went fast.
Boom. Hey man, been working on this Iron Man build. I just gave out episode 3 of well, maybe not, you might not want to say episode 3, but just the third update, and I had my boys, my son and his 2 cousins, demonstrate the pieces that I had going on. And I just thought I'd like to hit one more time on the arc reactor, and I've seen how these nice technical ones were put out, showing you going from a mold and, and redesigning it, and then from like just a fan's point of view, it's like seeing it, it's like, I will go to, design one and just throw one together, and in honor of the whole comic book hero type thing or whatever, and being able to look at something physically and say, hey man, this is the thing that how it is for our superhero or whatever story or science fiction deal, whatever it is that you're going into, But so far, this has been my particular build as far as that's concerned. I'd show you the guts in it. I'd done hot glued it. Hindsight is 2020, okay, per se. But I'm gonna do a few. I got to do the lines in here to finish it. But I did do this, and I showed that in the earlier builds, explaining it a little bit, and where I modified this and stuff like that. Touch on the whole concept of using the palladium and all that, and how he made it into a ring and stuff, and then soldered wire in a sequence with spacing involved and stuff like that, kind of like a magnetic, sort of like a magnetic type generator, with coiled wires and all that. It's, for the effect of generating power and whatnot. You know, uh, as kind of for effect though, if seeing it in action is kind of cool. As an overall, feeling of, uh, limitless energy per se. That's kind of like the ultimate goal for something like that. That'd be great. I mean, for the storyline, he had to use it to, help humanity, as a type of weapon. But it was a protective, as a defensive device, not so much as a weapon, because of some of the effects that it can do and all that. And that's got a lot of beauty in there. I saw some of the effect when I'm sitting there looking at it, and I thought I'd share the same effect. Okay, we'll turn the light out. That's the best effect of all. Start out from darkness and all that, and creating the light, which is the beginning of it, is just building up and all that, and the energy source. Arc reactor on. Ah, got an awesome glow. Bringing it a little bit closer to home. Stabilizing. Increasing energy density. Adding more flux. Oh yeah. Reaching 100%. Freaking awesome. Like a proud parent. Whole notion of limitless energy, lasts you so many lifetimes. Yeah. For the purposes of heart protector. Something that create energy. Yeah. That's a viable solution there. There's definitely a lot of energy. Turning down the power. Reducing the flow. Stabilizing it a little bit. Here we go. Arc reactor off. That's very cool. I thought I'd share that with you, kind of like update number 3A. And I'll have a few more things once I get to the next update, number 4, showing some more paint done on there and a little bit more modifications into the helmet for a proper fit. Okay, good deal. Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is the 4th update, probably the 5th one. I had 3A, that was just a quick throw in there about the arc reactor that I was doing. This is the Iron Man build 1A, the Mark 1A, the augmented version. So what I thought was nice is this, nice is that. Been working on the helmet and the arc reactor. I started with the glove. I showed you that on the previous one. I wanted to give you a nice little update showing you the helmet essentially complete. And I wanted to show you the beginnings of the glove with the repulsor on it. And of course the arc reactor again, showing the LEDs that I've installed in the lights, helmet, the arc reactor itself again. A little bit of good painting. I thought that would be kind of cool to show. So for beginners, we'll start off with the glove, basically. Oops, dropped it. Got its own. Everything's got its own power supply. What I'm figuring on doing is crossover solar panels, little bitty solar panels and stuff to recharge like AAA batteries, just to run all the different LEDs and whatnot. This is just a mock-up prototype. I'm kind of experimenting with what I, looking for essentials and stuff like that. So here's my beginning glove, so-called. It looks, cheap little glove, not a problem, but a very good arc reactor. Repulsor with it. It's got that good glow. I'm working on the back side. You probably can't see it in the camera. I got horrible lighting. I'm working on the fingers and to get that painted red. But it's a very good representation. It's going to look good in the overall feature once I get this one and get the other glove to match and all that. It's waiting for a glove. Alright. Well, this wasn't a bad deal. Here, I wired up the lights inside of there and had a little plastic cap and pinned it down with a little copper ring for effect. Pinned it down real nicely, hot glued it all in there. With a little circuitry ring with some wiring. And it's the housing that carries my little batteries for this, which of course it'll run inside of here, and I'll have it come together where all the different power supplies running the different components will be in one location only, so that they're not scattered out, jostling around, break this or break that. We'll eventually move up to harder shells and stuff like that, like what everybody else is doing. But let's get this, my repulsor. Very cool. Got a lot of good glow to it. Really sticks out. Very nice. Okay. Well, the next thing I wanted to show was my. Let's take the battery out. Running low on batteries here. I got them running into everything I got. Kind of a comedy, so to speak. Arc reactor off. That's it right there. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Just for a dramatic effect, I'll step out of frame as I'm talking here. I incorporated several LEDs to do different oh boy. So, alright. My rock. Now, it looks good. Everything's in pristine order. Here's the headlamp. Very cool. Got a good look to it. And for the new effect, now I gotta find all the freaking wiring. It's gonna be interesting to locate all the wiring. These are the eyes. Wow. Not so bright. But it's worth it. I'm sure you all can appreciate that. I turn the light off. I think you either will work like turn signal, while in flight. I figured that's kind of funny. Hazard light. Or steady light. Okay. That, my friends, is a good looking helmet. Doesn't look bad at all. Alright. So this is the update. Next, we're going to be working on the other pieces. And so far, the build has gone off not too bad at all. I'm quite impressed with everything. I'm sure that y'all are. And feel better. So yeah, I got a little bit of work to do on the back part. I have to do some extra sealing and hardening and a few extra paddings and such inside of it. Basically, do a little bit. Oh, maybe I'll use the arc reactor to shine inside of it. Light on. Arc reactor on. Not too bad. As you can see, everything's nice and straight and clean inside of there. I've hidden the wires, or some of the wires are still showing. I got to just hide them behind some panels. Adding a little padding inside of it. And generally speaking, I felt like I'm getting pretty far along here. I'm excited to see the rest of the helmet. Looks real nice, real nice. It's good stuff. Okay, fellas. Well, that's my Mark 1A. Soon to be having some extra pieces once I get into that. It'll probably been like 3 weeks total since I first started. But it's not been every hour on the hour, so it's a few hours here, a few hours there, and I'm learning that there are some better techniques in doing the foam, in reducing the amount of paper for this originally was all paper, and so I sort of kicked it up a notch by taking what I've seen with the foam build, and not necessarily use foam because we're thinking the fiberglass and all that, but using the pieces that have been conglomerated to a smaller grouping of parts to put it all together to make a better, quicker construction method and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I don't think we should be in a hurry. But it's a matter. It's fun doing it. It's fun coming up with all this interesting stuff and all this tech stuff. And then in the future build, probably update number 5, I will have the installed the ears, which by that I mean the headphones, microphone, the integration that I'm going to do that with my. I've got a miniature laptop, which is real tiny, only 10.5 inches, an Asus. It's real cool. It's a little tablet type thing, and I'm going to run all the programs through that, like navigation, so to speak, different astrometrical different types of programs for the star charts, nautical, um, different implementations of just various programs that in a future build I would say that like systems like if you got the whole suit on heading down the road and you you're accessing features like the heads up display, and I just saw that there has been a new development, so that's going to make that an awesome future addition. They have contact lenses that can project images. So with that I read, it's a BBC article on basically lenses, which when you put these suckers on, you'll be able to project anything in front of you, and that's tied into your system, back into your computer. Essentially, you can call up information right in front of your eyes. Essentially the same way from the Iron Man movies, except he had a virtual display in front of him. With these contacts, it'll be virtual to yourself only, not a projection anywhere else, but just right into your eye. You're right there in your visual cortex, so you'll see everything, and it's interacting back and forth with the computer and all the software and all that. It's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so that was the Iron Man build update number 4. We'll see you again when we get a little further along down the line. You ought to look that up. That's some interesting stuff for you other guys that are out there building. The contact lens thing really steps it up if you want to look to really put some things together. I've seen guys doing the paintballs that can shoot paintballs, as just sort of replicating, idolizing the fact that what the Iron Man and all the different weapon systems and all that kind of stuff on there. There's a lot of good stuff out there. Hope you got a kick out of that. I sure did doing it. I'll see you next trip on the next update. All right then.
Hey, what's going on, people? Cheech and his, I have my little nickname I've been using, for my continuing update. Here is the update number 5 in the Iron Man build. As you can see, I've got my helmet over here, and that was shown in the first couple features. Got it just sitting here right now. As an update to that, as you can see, been working on the lights. Still a little bit of work involved in that. The back of it I had to redo, and I've just since redone this. I've got it split open. I'm going to do a little something extra here, and then I have to carve it out and then build it outwards. There's a little problem in making it round. I have to finish the bottom half. But in keeping up with things, I was trying to get the other parts done as I was getting to those points, particular points in the build. This one, as you can see, has turned out pretty decent, very decent. And as you see, that's just a raw. It's been painted up, I know, but I'm working on getting ready to start fiberglassing over top of this. It'll stick to all this crap. It's just regular enamel paint. It'll just stick right to it. In any event, this is probably a new one. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't really looked hard, but I haven't seen it in any of the other guys, working on making arc reactors and such. For mine, interesting note, everybody's been hooking them up to battery power supply and all that kind of stuff, and to show it off and make the effect and everything in the suit. Here's mine. Right now it's running on no batteries. You can see it light up. I'm putting my hand on the back because I am solar power. I put my hand on the back because there's a little device on there that tells it to turn off when there's enough light outside to charge it. Alright, a little close up on that. See, there's the solar panel. Got my idea off of them yard lights. Heck, everybody's hooking up power supplies. Well, I set this in the sun, and at night it runs all night continuously. It's actually very kind of cool. The fact that, here, I'll have to let it come on, cover it, come on. I think this is a first, very first, I would say, solar powered arc reactor. Imagine that. Other interesting thing is now I started on, well, I moved up from using the Peppercura design, or the program to help view the paper modeling kits that you can do to build a suit from paper. Well, that's how I did the helmet. And now working on, here's the chest piece. I started using a little bit of cardboard because I'm going to go with the fiberglass, and this is going to be a nice rigid surface for me to work on. As you can note, this is it fitting on me, because I'll be I'm sizing everything, of course, off my body to be able to fit it. That's fairly cool. The modeling is pretty decent, I think. You can see in the back side how I've taken some careful note on how to put it together. I'm basically just watching a little bit of the designs right here off the computer, using the Peppercura viewer, and to see the suit itself, changing it a little bit, to suit myself. And just from that, I'm pretty good on artistic in visualizing the pieces. So when I cut the angles, I finesse the one side, of course, and then when I get done, and I like that, since most things are mirrored images, I just simply flip it over and trace the other side. Well, that seems to be working out pretty good. Now, seems kind of crooked there. Okay, there we go. Very nice, huh? Alright. And you see that with the helmet in place, kind of get a visual sense of how its overall function, or the overall, I don't know, aesthetic value of, how the whole thing's going to work out. It's going to be pretty cool. This is a pretty good step in where I've thought about using what me and my good friend are talking about, as using these fiberglass threads. Okay, and since I've got it at this stage in the game, I might as well point out that I want to take and embed these onto this material right here, and let them stick out a little bit out here so I can cut them to length, and wherever I decide to have them stick out. The purpose of it is we're trying to let a little bit of light be transmitted through one side of it and down to the solar apparatus. Fill this thing full, layer it in all different directions, and have it come from where the dots are sticking out in inconspicuous places anywhere on the suit. That dot, of course, will let the light strike that surface and channel the light. down to being lit up inside here on the other end. Well, I'm sure if you get enough of them layered throughout the suit, you know, anywhere you stand in the sunlight, you'll be actually adding a little bit of extra solar energy for the batteries to be charged for the lighting of it. Okay, you could probably think that you could expand upon that, you know, and make it a little bit more serious in the little bit larger scale, you know, more energy. I was playing around with the fact that those little plasma lights where you stick your finger on them and it directs the energy to it, you know, if you also take a fluorescent bulb and hold it next to it, it lights up because it's projecting energy around it. Now, I thought, well, that could be something that can be done here. Just have to come up with one of those plasma lights and maybe in a concentric ring or something so that the plasma can be traveling around there, and nearby items could be picking up the energy off of that and directing the signal and directing it to other parts of the suit. Maybe giving just a little juice to a gyro over here that moves an apparatus. Well, hope you all got a kick out of that. Now, soon to come, I'll have this up a little bit. Got to wait about a week before I get the fiberglass to start going over this. And I'm going to try to do layering like I just described. So in the Iron Build 6, that'll next update, you'll get the update on this. Hey, Cheech here, doing the Iron Man build update number 6. I'll detail it probably like in a second one, but this is going to be just about the arc reactor that I'm going to do for the suit. This is the outer shell of the arc reactor right here, as you can see. It's inside of the suit already. Let's see what I got going on there. It's coming along real nicely. I'm working on the back part right now. Everything turns out, these are all flexible, by the way. They're a little stiff now from painting, but as you can see, I can pull it apart. I put elastic waistbands inside of there over my pleats, as you might call them, I guess. As you can see here, this is the other side, back and everything. They all do the trick. It's kind of cool. It's turned out pretty good, I'd say. I've got it fastened together with some clips. I'll show you here. That's the case for my laptop, or my version of Jarvis is going to be in there, so I can do sound effects and control a few other things. Still top secret. Just kidding. Those clips are perfect for clipping this together, although quite difficult, so you kind of need an assistant in clipping it once you're trying to put the suit on. It's very strong clipping. You can see it looks seamless, you can't even tell. Once I get the fiberglass done, you won't even know it's there. But currently I'm working on this. And to explain a little briefly, this is what I got here. I've got these rechargeable solar light units. They have a solar panel right there. And then, of course, a little LED, and it has a rechargeable AAA that would go here for the solar panel. Taking it all apart, down to the components. This is the LED, and the little black thing is actually the sensor that registers whether or not the light is on or the sun is out. So it turns the LED off and goes into charge mode. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I got 3 of these. They're all scattered down here, and so far this is what I've got here. I'm making this little container This is going to be behind the arc reactor, which I just showed you on the suit. Okay, I'm going to take these little pedestal looking things that I got off of some little mini circuit boards. I took the copper off, which I saved them too. The copper turns out to be good for aesthetics as far as how the wrapping went around the arc reactor itself. Anyway, these little pedestal things, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be gluing them there in a little triangular pattern to maximize my light output. I had 24 LEDs, I burned it out, but using these 3 solar setups here, I'm going to take the solar panels and cut them out and attach them to the suit somewhere, you know, so the sun can hit it. And I'm going to be running the wiring down to here and have, of course, the battery supply will be off, hidden somewhere else into the suit, you know, tucked away, and simply the wire will come down to the container here, and which will be attached to the back of that, creating the arc reactor light and making it look just, you know, how it should look in its function. So that's what I'll be doing there. Got all my tools here, glue guns and everything, and this is also a battery pack that I'm using for powering. I've also got this fan. This is going to be a cooling fan that I'm installing inside the 2 of them for the suit. Okay, well, these will run quite easily off of the battery power supply. Somebody was asking me, how is it that an AC powered fan is supposed to run on just batteries? Well, actually, most of the stuff on motherboards and whatnots and the components that go to it are DC items. The power supply actually does the conversion, converts it. Honestly, the actual detail as to why it's still like that instead of an AC deal, I don't know. I have to look it up and then find out. But see, my fan is running off of my power supplies. I'll probably end up setting it up so that this also will have rechargeables, and I'll have it to where these will recharge. The whole thing is to be autonomous so that it can be, you know, self-perpetuating with all the different motors and conceptual stuff in there. And see, that runs pretty fine. Doesn't have the highest RPMs, but it's enough inside the suit cavities to do the cooling and moving the air and keeping circulation going. Okay, that's just a brief update for the Iron Man build number 6. I'll come back with an Iron Man build number 7, showing how the suit wears, and I should have this lighted and installed into the suit itself. And then I have a second arc reactor which I'll be wearing, where you put it on your shirt, kind of like the toy model one. And quite briefly, I can touch on that, is that I got this is the one here. I'm going to do like I've seen in the other tutorials that I've noticed of this exact item. They're yellow lights, and I'm going to take the LEDs out and put white LEDs. They're the clear ones, which I have down here off this other broken item, which has clear ones. I'll desolder them and take them out, put them into this one. And of course I'm going to lengthen the wires, spread this out a little bit, and this will be probably what I'll use for the repulsor glove setup. Okay. Alright, till the next Iron Man build update. Peace. Hey, Cheech here. Doing the Iron Man build update number 7, I do believe. Well, I got a few new update things. I've reworked my helmet. I've gotten the color scheme a little bit better on the design. I've done little modifications in the back. I still need to finish filling in some voids in this area, and I got to do something with the chin. There's a little something there I have to do. Got to work the LEDs inside there still. I'm going to do rechargeables. I had other ones in there, but I've taken them out. I'm opting with the whole suit design, since I showed you in the last one how I'm doing the little solar rechargeable lights, and how I hooked up the arc reactor using those lights and such. Figured the whole thing should have at least be able to be recharged. Kind of like autonomous, you know, self-sustaining and such. Okay, well, as you can see, that it's got some cool looks to it. It's got good color. I still got to touch up a little bit, but it's a little wrinkled. I'm still happy with it because, I mean, you can see who it is. A lot of work went into that, actually. Now, I'll set that down. Now here's the suit itself. It's starting to shape up real nice. The arc reactor is installed. I've got the Mark VI style centerpiece in the Mark II arc reactor style. The circle instead of a triangle. I kind of blended I kind of blended the themes from 1 through 6. Kind of pick and choose and stuff. There's the solar panels all installed, you know. Okay. And as you can see back in the back there, where my version of Jarvis's computer sits, it's actually my laptop. And with some USB cords and such like that, I can do quite a few things as far as sound effects maybe, and controlling some other functions I've got thought into, where some of the voice speech recognition programs in the operating system can launch or close applications and stuff like that, and specifically certain things that I might have it in here where panels may come open or something based on an open and close voice command, you know, launching the program that controls certain motor functions and stuff like that. On the inside you can see a little bit of my wiring here from the arc reactor. I've got to take and add the wires that go up to the solar panels up here, and I'll hide all this stuff here. The new addition, of course, I've done the back now. I got a little bit more on shaping. I've got some more panels that have to go over top of this to actually get the proper effect. This is the base structure of it right now. Okay, so last night I got done. I still got a little bit to do. Here is it's like a cowboy hat, but no, it's the neck piece. Looks pretty good. The dimensions are just right. I kind of measured it to my neck, which kind of helps. But this will be going inside of the suit. I just got it sitting on top. Maybe I can slip it in there real quick and show you. Okay. It's going to be on the inside of there, like so. There we go. Got to do a little tweaking on the position and everything where it needs to be. As you can see, it's going to look pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. So, with that said, I always like to touch it off with a demonstration of the solar powered arc reactor. Like I said, so far I'm still the only one that is actually using rechargeables and taking into consideration the idea of not relying on an external power source. Essentially, the fact that it can self-sustain itself is ideal condition to have. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking cool. The other thing I was working on was the idea that I was going to put as part of some of my programs that launch things, was where you would say arc reactor on and it would come on. The piece that I had working for that before also burnt out. had an issue getting the hang of working with soldering and wiring in the proper way it should be done. Apparently I had either too much voltage or something like that go through, and that's what happened. Okay, that's the Iron Man build number 7, Cheech's personal Iron Man suit, the the 1A. That's what I called it, because it's a modification of the original, and it's trying to make it towards my own. Alright, well, till the next one, I should have the neck piece installed and other odds and ends. The lights installed probably in the helmet, and we'll take it from there. I got to do a little more painting and such, and hopefully I'll be done with that particular part of it, and then I'll have to start on the arms and legs. That's going to be another tedious task, but it's doing so good. It's doing pretty good so far the way it looks. Alright, till the next one. Peace.
The estimated completion time is 5 hours.
I am Iron Man.
What's up, everybody? Good God. Finally got the torso done. This is the Iron Man build number 8. Cheech here on the continuing updates on the Iron Man build. Jarvis, how long you reckon we got on this here system before we get it fully operational?
The estimated completion time is 5 hours.
Alright. If you're looking out, let me know. Okay. Alright. Any continuing updates? Tonight actually, is the premiere of Iron Man with the rest of the gang as the Avengers. I was hoping to have this done to be able to display it. As you can see here, this is the combination suit. Let me adjust my camera. Looks like always got to work on this camera. Well, this is what I got so far. Front solar panel setup. Okay. Here's the mask. Here's the back. Everything's looking pretty good. Okay. Also, you know, the arc reactor does work. Boom. Although the sunlight is not doing any justice, you can definitely tell. Let's see here. I have to remember. Oh, there we go. This is the. In light of events, I find that I inadvertently put together the previous model's arc reactor with the modern one, which comes out in the Avengers, which would be coming up on the Mark 7 suit, based on the triangular V formation of the center part, and he went back to using the circular part. Lucky for me, you know, it works out. So that's working out good. And alright. Fast forward time a little bit. Jarvis, are you sure we couldn't get this going any sooner?
We have indeed been uploaded, sir. We're online and ready.
Okay. Well, you heard it, boys. Suit's up and running. Alright. Now, we'll put it through a set of diagnostics and such. Are you ready for that, Jarvis?
Test the fixed character power down and begin diagnosis.
Okay then. Alright, people. It's going to be a good movie tonight. IMAX 3D. Figured this would be the one. Kind of the setup I'm going to use. I'm going to use these gloves, and I'm going to hopefully maybe finish these up. I've got my repulsor set up sitting down here on the table, and hopefully I'll have that ready. Along with that, the suit does get hot, so I do have fan designs that I was going to incorporate into the suit. Got computer fans, which work out beautifully. They'll be inside the suit here, giving me some ventilation a little bit, cooling me off, which is excellent. Okay. Yeah, and I have a miniature one also that's going to go onto the inside the helmet. And hopefully that'll help keep my head cool. Brow sweating. Well, alright fellas, I hope you guys got a kick out of the latest of the updates. I am Cheech, and this is Iron Man build number 8 with a continuing update. More to come, of course, because we've got more stuff going on in building the arms. We've got the legs to deal with, and I've got some old boots that I'm going to, that are steel-toed, that are definitely going to be, used in the development of this. I've got a new design I could briefly show you, and then later in probably the Iron Man build number 9 will be the other arc reactor that actually would probably attach to your shirt. And you've seen the ones in the store, the toy ones. Well, this one's based off of his original diagram. I sat here and drawed it up and figured everybody would like to see kind of where I'm going with it next. I'm using some magnets and things, and I've got some pretty good stuff going on there. Okay. Alright, people. I will see you guys. Peace. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Just for the sake of argument, I am Iron Man. Hey, what's going on, people? Cheech here. The continuing Iron Man build. This is update number 9. Increasing in the number of videos here. I'm coming along okay. As you can see, my buddy's sitting in here in the corner. Small updates. I just wanted to show placement of a few things. Actually, the first helmet that I did and the new improved helmet, since, I guess building up a little bit of skill level in the development of my little project here. Just like everybody else is into, I suppose. I just kind of wanted to touch on just a couple quick things, and first I'll show off the new helmet. It got paint spilt on it, so I'm a little bit upset. This is all plastic, molded, shaped, using the oven at a real low setting and just only letting it sit in there on top of like a cookie sheet turned upside down, and I mean just within a couple of minutes of just having it in there, it's pliable enough that you can shape it into the different things that you can do, as you can see here. This being the new mask. Actually has a lot better look to it, more solid. The Peppercura build, I do have to give it props though for his helmet in comparison. After I turned it out, it wasn't sized correctly, so I essentially saved it as just simply a nostalgic first piece, and then I intend to increase the talent involved in putting it together, and that one actually looks a lot better than this one. Chins and stuff are a little bit different too from As you can see, the face off, quite different sizes and styles. Much better, larger mask. This is more flat. I don't know, for that real short guy. Just put these things down here. Working on a few other neat little things. I think I showed this. I may not have. If I didn't, I wouldn't mind showing it to you. I went and created another little arc reactor for my, well, I just like making them, really. They're so cool. Well, I got this conglomeration of wires here, but essentially, this is the new arc reactor that I put together, as you can see. Classic style, but round, but it has the V in it, which is the new element which came out in the Avengers. I didn't know that, and I like the idea of combining the triangle with the circle. And essentially, well, golly gee, it turns out that that was a good combination, because that's what they put in the movie. So I thought, well, okay, so I'm keeping in pace with what's in and what's not in, I suppose, as far as the styles of the arc reactors and stuff. I took an old phone, gutted it out, put my own components in there, little speaker in there and stuff, and it too is connected by line to the arc reactor. I dial 9 on here, make the little sound effects. Really cool stuff. Let me grab my rechargeable batteries. That's another whole thing that I wanted to cover, but I may do a side update, maybe 9A. Let's just for giving it a way of finding it. You know, this is 9. Oops. And of course I got oh, here's some batteries right here. Uh-oh. Can't be misplacing batteries, because then I won't figure out which ones are good and which are not. So I'm gonna have to do a little checking here. Essentially, this was pretty cool. That took that one type of toy arc reactor and essentially took it all apart and started doing something a little different. So there's that. Got my batteries in there, and hopefully hit the flip phone. Uh-oh, something's wrong in the wiring. It's gotta be, or maybe not. Could be the batteries then. There's supposed to be a little button there, but may not have good batteries in there. That sucks. But essentially, you'll like the idea. The little flip phone you can have in your thing. You can flip it open, press the button, make the neat sound effects. We'll try a different battery. Uh-oh. Back to the drawing board, you might say? Dang. Oh, wait a minute. Could have been the battery connections are bad. There it goes. Battery's a little weak. And my little connection seems to be bad. But, oh, there you go. I hope you guys got a kick out of that. Got a few different styles I'm working on over here. Here was one where I took the cap off the one from the store model, and I essentially started making my own little grid pattern out of copper. Some of the pieces have fallen off, but the whole idea is to constantly changing the components and then seeing which ways they can be rearranged and put back together. Essentially makes the hobby and of model building, so to speak, or stuff like that, and gives it a whole new dimension, because not only you're taking and building it from scrap, you're not sitting there popping out a bunch of plastic pieces already preformed. You essentially got to make your own and use your ingenuity and imagination in putting the pieces together and how they might function. So, cool. Alright, well, these got to go back on the charger because they sound like they're dead on arrival here. So, that was that particular one. I call it the flip phone arc reactor. Well, in the movie Avengers, he uses a PDA device to interact with Jarvis. I sort of kind of took that idea and made a device that actually activated the arc reactor. In a sense, kind of like the same thing, hand in hand, interacting with your device there, or your machinery that you're wearing or whatever. Updates on arc reactors. Obviously, see, that was my very first one, and then I remodified it and made it a lot larger. Right now, I'm working on a solar setup. Well, which I did on the suit itself. I started working a little bit on the War Machine. Actually, it turns out I thought it was plastic. It's plastic on the back side, and it has actually metal wrapped around it. I'm going to eliminate this plastic housing, or no, essentially I might need to use that actually for holding components inside of there. That's that particular one, which is actually pretty cool. I always carry a temporary light, let you see what it looks like on the inside. But that's War Machines, and it's solar rechargeable. I've taken some of these old solar lights that I had and removed the components and stuff like that, and right here are the solar panels. I've been working on a different one, which is, I don't know, there's probably components out there that already have this, and whoops, the camera fell off. And what I wanted to see is if I could just take some spare parts, match up some of the different items, like this capacitor right here, and there's a sensor right here, and this is a relay, and over here is some solar panels. This is an example board of what I was trying to put together, something I'll make a little bit larger. And I thought, sure, in keeping with the theme that I have going, using solar power regeneration and kind of a interesting angle towards the arc reactor notion of plasma and all that, the electricity that can be created from it, because I got solar panels on there and everything. So I figured, why not make it to where I eliminate the rechargeable batteries altogether in the solar power scheme, or I could still use them, and especially like if you're not in the sunlight. So you have to so one's going to have to balance for the other. So on rechargeable batteries at night, during the day you can run directly off the sunlight, and that was kind of what I was hoping to do eventually. Even if it's cloudy, it should still be able to produce electricity. So I took there was this little flower thing that ran on solar power only, not a battery. And what I did was I took that component out of there to see how it works, and that's the little board right there. Okay. And all I simply do is I run 2 leads off of it over to a capacitor. I increased the size of the capacitor. It used to be a lot smaller. Let's say like right on this circuit board here, one of these little ones. And I took and put this larger one on. Okay, so and in increasing that, I had a larger discharge of electricity for the light that I had it right here. Okay, I need something to demonstrate that. Yes, I do have it here. Okay, I'm going to take my flashlight and just shine it on the solar panel just so you can get the idea of what's going on here. It builds up enough energy in the capacitor and then discharges it to the light apparatus right here. So you'll see the light come on as soon as I hit the light. You'll see I take the power away, the light goes out. Bring it back, light goes on. Alright, so essentially, trying to keep with the idea that you don't need to plug up to any outlet to recharge your batteries or anything like that. You know, if you're doing this and making costumes or whatever or something like that, you know, certainly will say, hey, where's your outlet? I got to plug in. So that's kind of funny. Alright, so anyways, so what I'm doing here is I'm taking all them solar panels, and I'll show you down here, and I'm going to be running them in a sequence across here, creating a larger you know, solar array. And at the terminating end, I'll have the light apparatus, which is going to be probably for the War Machine reactor, arc reactor. His is a little beefier design where they added all that extra stuff on there, and I just thought larger, a little bit more electricity to be able to be produced. And using that same technique, I should be able to run a light or whatever. So with that said, I will stop here and do my little work and stuff like that, and we'll show that as a continuing update. Iron Man build number 9A, to touch on the solar rechargeable units. Alright, till next time. Hey, what's up everybody? Cheech here. The Iron Man build number 10. I believe that's where we're on this series of updates. Personally, to my good buddy Jeff out there, just a quick update. I'll probably do these in steps and stuff so that I can show a little bit and speak about each thing, specifically what I'm doing. I've been working on the helmet this time. I've kind of backed off a little bit on the other things that I was doing so I can concentrate on a few of the tech that I wanted to put into the helmet. Namely, my own little rudimentary version of the heads-up display, which is kind of cool. Right now, it's just at the point of where it's just a camera, and I've got it set up inside there. I was kind of innovative, and I took an old cell phone that had the camera software on it, and it has a camera on it, and basically just specifically using it just so that I could display it through the helmet. I also took into consideration of a few other things like radiation shielding, or external sources of interference and stuff like that towards any of the tech inside the helmet itself. I was kind of using the space blanket, testing that out as a theory that it does block most of the sun's rays, so thermal conduction of heat passing through it isn't going to be as it is. But you might figure it's going to probably be hot inside the helmet. I mean, which I've addressed that with cooling fans and such. Once the system is closed in, the ventilation system should be, I should probably have that at some point of advancement by then, so because you're going to need to be keeping cool inside of here. But essentially what I was trying to do is just, let me show you with the camera here. Okay. Right now I've got the helmet on. Got its lights working. In the center you'll see a little circular dark dot. That's actually where the peephole is for the camera. Okay. Now inside you'll see all my hold on, let me get it stabilized and backed up. This is that space blanket material. I've got it on the inside of the helmet, lining it. That's a rechargeable battery right there to run the headlamps inside. And I'll take you inside a little bit. I put two more little plastic strips here to basically, it's a little bright in there looking, but it's not as bright as you think. The extra piece on there actually deflects the light so it's not intense into the eyes. I may turn around and end up darkening this side of it towards me, because the light is for the effect from the outside, looking at the helmet, looking at the eyes. I don't need the light in my face. Here you'll see the phone set up. It's inside. There's actually plenty of room in front of my face for doing a few extra gadgets or something on either side. Simply, it sits like so. I'll put it in camera mode, turn the camera on, and essentially you can see wherever I'm looking inside the helmet. The camera lens, well, not the camera lens, but the glass actually cracked through all this. So eventually this will have to come out and I'll have to replace it with another one. But for testing purposes and stuff, and getting everything in order, I'll have to basically come up with another camera and see where it should, redo everything and put it back in its place. Actually right now there's my USB hookup to the side in the camera. And that runs out the cheek right now. I got it right there. Runs right out the cheek where I have a filter set up. Comes out the side right here. And basically that's my hookup to the computer. On this end right here, now I'm going to take it and plug it up to my computer up here. Whoops, not going to reach. Oh, there we go. I plugged it into the back of the computer. And now it's essentially going to be charging it. Let me turn this back off. And you'll see the flashing arrow. There, you should be able to see it flashing there in the top right corner. That means it's charging off the computer right now. So I'll be able to hook up to my laptop, which is right there, which will be in the sort of like the carrying backpack piece that's in the back of the suit, which carries my laptop. So I'll be able to run a couple interesting software, maybe sound effects or whatever, but essentially you get the idea of kind of where I'm going with that. Eventually interactive software, speech recognition. I can install a microphone inside of here and basically speak basic commands to the laptop to trigger things or whatever. Any kind of tech inside the suit, maybe work sounds or basic motors that can move or something based on switching on and off, and trigger some things to function. But the whole idea basically is to test out the shielding. The camera setup works. Believe it or not, the camera is just this little tiny ass, whoops, right down there on the, there's a little square silver thing. That's the camera, but we're looking at the back side of it, and it pokes right out that hole. I figured that's pretty cool. When I put it on, it's a little blurry, so I have to adjust some of the resolution so that I can see what I'm doing. I'm still working on my new fancy arc reactor with several different types of plugins. I've probably already showed this before. That's an external hookup for power. It's got a rechargeable battery setup. I'm using capacitors in there to help store some of the juice and trigger it, discharge the juice, basically. It's sort of like I'm trying to create an infinite loop, hopefully, of one is supporting the other as far as power production, power distribution, okay, giving back a little bit towards recharging the battery and the capacitor, storing some of the juice and discharging it to help light it. So that's that in particular right there. It's actually turned out pretty good, pretty cool. Let me take this top off. You'll be able to see some of its working components. Still working on that touched principle. If I come near it, I actually create a ground, and it actually comes on because of the infinite loop of the power. It needs a little oomph right there. As you can see, it will sustain itself a little bit. It's flickering because it's picking up some juice. The battery's probably a little weak, and so the cycle winds down. So it's not, well, lack of a better term, a forever device. So far, though, it proves the practical application in the way that I'm trying to have it be autonomous, or self-sustaining to some extent. I mean, relying on the elements and such, the solar power production, or just simply energy created from the circular. I keep referring to a circular because everything comes around, and one thing is helping the other, which helps the other, which turns around and helps it, which started it in the first place. I've got a couple more odds and ends here. There's a solar panel array set up that also is going to be incorporated into the suit. And well, that in particular, that's for this particular update. I just wanted to touch on the camera setup inside of here, inside of the helmet. And as you know, right now it's charging the system, which is awesome. Looks like he's checking me out. Hope you got a kick out of that. That's just for that particular. I've got a couple other things I'll touch on once I come back to it. And this is Iron Man build number 10 update. And we'll be back. We'll come up with some other stuff here that I want to show off to you. And we'll come back to that. Alright. Peace. To test to see what it looks like, I cut the faceplate out. Got all the workings going, and just still got to work on the hinge part, but I have everything in order. It's all wired up. The heads-up display, it's functioning. But I've got the gears and whatnot in there. This is just sort of what it looks like once you don't have the faceplate on. But in this sense, you can get an idea what it looks like once it's closed up. You got to do a few things faceting it, but I don't have that awesome clicking sound, but that's okay. I don't care. Still looks pretty good. I mean, that's my little peephole for the video that's playing on the inside. Right here. But, yeah, getting my tech going. Right now it's just a removable plate. You've seen that a lot in a different one. I have to do a little bit of organizing as far as placement because I can't tell whether or not I have it open or shut. But I just thought it's a good effect, come straight in. Not too bad. It's in not bad shape. Not bad. I just pretty much went straight through, cut everything out that I was going to do. That way, everything sticks together. I've actually got it pretty well glued up. There's a few gaps and stuff like that, but they all come close together once you do a little finagling with it and all that. It does kind of go together, so. What it is, going to have the hinge plates so that actually brings it sturdier, so that when it actually opens, it will rise
and then flip back. I'm going back as far as that. I've got an idea that my points in my cheek ride along. I've got a set of tracks here that I'm working on right here where my fingers are moving. And that, my friend, is where the guide is going to be when this slides forward and locks into place. Boom. Whoops, there it goes. Now it's in place. Just a little tricky. I just thought that would be some cool stuff to see. To actually see the faceplate work. Everything's working. Got some of the electronics going in there that's going to go for the for my heads-up display up in there, which is all welded up. Things accessible. It's in good working order. Okay. That's the Iron Man build, probably number 11. 11 or 12, one of the two. But all it is, simply an update showing that I finally took, after sealing it up, I went ahead and decided to make the seam where I wanted to cut. Everything, all the tech that's going to stick around here is going to stay right there inside of that area. Okay, and I've got figured for extra lines and stuff for some of the tech that's going to go back here. The other stuff, the exhaust fan and everything, is all still within the confines of right here at the chin. And so is the battery power. It's down there by the chin. Right here, that little black square. And it's all in place and it's functional and it's also working. Now, just thought that was a interesting little update. I know all you fans out there like the Iron Man thing and then the Iron Man theme. And that's my dude. Okay. Iron Man build number 11, I would assume. I have to check back my records, but I've done side videos and such like that. Okay, till next one.
Hey, it's Iron Man build, probably number 12. I have a few other things that needed to be updated on. I haven't been updated on in a while. It's Cheech here on this the Iron Man continue build. Obvious, what you can see in front of you is the it's a gauntlet. Well, the glove. This is the glove portion. Right now, it's in between stages. Okay. Just going to show you generally the shape and the outcome of the fingers. Using a heavy-duty glove. Very hardcore material, durable pads. Here it is coming around. Okay. Obvious rechargeable battery compartment goes in here. And this is, of course, the repulse. It's got some real rough grips. Coming around. Back around. Got this on the stand. And I can actually articulate it and turn it so I can work on it. There's a full view. I tend to put a ridge of plastic, another piece somewhere in here to do this. Come around to cover this area. So you have to picture that probably gone, reshaping. Very hard to show you the holster. This ought to be good for effects. Let me turn the light down. There it is. All fired up. Actually sticks out pretty cool. Cool effects. Now you're wondering if it's all rigid construction. Oh, semi-rigid. Let me just do this. Take it off the stand. Putting it on, not too bad. It's a little awkward. There we go. There. Hey guys, Cheech here on the continuing Iron Man build. This is build probably, I'm losing count, 14 or something like that. Had to revamp the lights in the helmet, had an issue there, and wanted to show I finally got it integrated with my USB plug-in to power the LEDs for the helmet. So I want to just quickly just demonstrate that, and a little quick update on this. Um, you know, put it in the camera view, it would help. Okay, so here's my USB, and I've got it wired inside to run my 4 sets of lights back here in the fins and for the eyes. And I got it running to the center part of, here let me use my Iron Man glove for light inside. And right in the center of that little area I've got it wired. Got all the wires crisscrossed into it. They're all joined together at that point. So, without further ado, here's my USB cord. Okay. USB. Okay. Okay, plugged in. And now this plugs in here. And we have power to the lights. And the helmet is alive. And it's bright as hell. On the camera, that is. At least I have to hold it out here or something. Maybe you can see most of the lighting. Earpiece. It's really taking shape. Okay, also, while I got it sitting here, I'm going to do a quick virtual tour, actually with the camera, showing the interior. Okay, there's the two phones acting as my heads-up display. Okay, I gotta get the camera on. Looking around the room. This little cheap people eye camera, or peephole camera, it's kind of tiny, but actually you can see pretty good through it. Let's see. There's the wife working on her decorations. Might be able to see it through the camera. Yep. There you go, Iron Man fans. There's my pepper pots. Yeah. Through the eyes of Iron Man, huh? No doubt. Alright. Okay, enough of that. Okay, fellas. That is very cool. And as you'll see here, I'll tell this computer to shut down. Whoops, if I do that, then you won't see the effect. So I can't do that. So if I turn it off here, he goes to sleep. Alright, so we'll do it the other way. Okay, power off. Whoop, power off. Ah, it won't power off. Oh, there it goes.
Don't scream at it.
Alright, Cheech here with the latest Iron Man build updates. Until the next one, this is just a little quick show on the integration. Now I've got 2 communication cables left that are the 2 other wires in the USB. There's 4 wires in a USB wire. The red and black is always power. That's how you can run power from any either the computer or the laptop. The other 2 wires are called communication wires, and those are the wires that will be, they're already revealed inside of there. They will go to the imaging sensors up in the top to feel for like future these other little plugins that I have for sensors that go up against the forehead and the temple areas, pick up neuroactivity and stuff. It's kind of weird. Alright, so the next one later.